Hello and welcome to Game Token Watch with me, John Jordan. So, for various reasons, I didn't get round to doing my roundup for April. So we're going to kind of quickly cover April as well as May. So this is kind of the roundup for May, but we'll kind of go through April. And as we can see, broadly speaking, kind of what happened in April is kind of where we've ended up at the end of May. So we haven't missed out too much, really. So let's have a kind of quick look at the kind of graph. So this is really for the period of time in which I've been kind of running this portfolio. Remember, it is not investment advice. This is for intellectual curiosity only. This is a small amount of money. If I lose it all, I will not shed tears. Please do not invest money in these tokens unless you really know what you're doing and have invested in other things before and have investments in things other than cryptocurrency. Okay, that over and done with. So you can see here, I kind of pulled out a few different stats to what I normally pull up. So we can see here the kind of the broad trajectory of what's been going on with these game tokens that I've been looking at over the last few months now, over 6 months now. We can see here, so back at the kind of the start of kind of in October, November in 2018, when I kind of started out, we had this kind of big collapse in middle of November, and we can see here the low point was the 15th of December 2018, and kind of through December, even through January. So these actually should point out these date graphs here. This is what my software pulls out. These are not necessarily the start of the months, so I don't quite know why it does that. I think it's looking back at when the portfolio was kind of created and drawing lines around that. So this is actually, this one here looks like it's kind of only the start of May. This is actually the period, the whole of May. Yeah, just bear that in mind. So we can see here, kind of, December, January was a pretty fallow time as well, and then when we get to kind of February, we start to see this very strong pickup, which kind of really goes all the way up. We can see here a high, the 20th of April was this kind of high point. And obviously, generally what happens in these game tokens is reflected throughout the cryptocurrency market broadly. At some point we'll go into more detail about quite how reflective these tokens are compared to something like Bitcoin or Ethereum, or Ether from Ethereum. But anyway, that was the high point. Then we had this kind of, I guess, what people would see as a correction downwards, and then we've kind of gone up again, and then we kind of, well, we'll see. I was going to say we are kind of solidifying around this point. Actually, in each individual token's trajectory, there's quite a lot going on here as well. So in terms of these game tokens, which we'll kind of get into, but this is the broad trajectory. Obviously, the other thing to point out during this time, kind of more during these months here, the first kind of 3 months of 2019, I was adding to the portfolio, so spending more money. I've not really done any active buying or selling of tokens over the last kind of 2 months, really, April and May. So the portfolio allocation has been steady in terms of how the percentages break down. And that's kind of partly because when you're in this sort of trajectory, it's kind of tempting to go, this kind of to the moon, blah, blah, blah scenario, and kind of start pumping money in. But actually, obviously, as we know from any investing, this is the point we should be putting in monies down here. Or more sensibly, we should be dropping money in kind of regularly every month. Not trying to pick the best times to do it. But as it just happens, I've just been leaving it for the time being. So I've not kind of added any money into the portfolio. But we can see here up to, I don't know why it's does it to 2 decimal places. It's a bit too ridiculous, but 64% apparently we're up. Now, obviously, what we need to look at is what this is compared to if we just left our money in Bitcoin or something like that. If you're kind of into crypto trading, yeah, that's kind of where we are in terms of that broad trajectory. And then we can kind of go and see. Okay, so here's the getting a bit more detail about how my very small portfolio, as much as it is a portfolio, is allocated. So, as in previous months, there are basically 4 main tokens, which are roughly split. I mean, I think this is Decentraland. This is about 26%, and Wax now is about probably under 20%. But I'm not really. Well, I say for the last 2 months, I've not changed. I've not bought or sold any of these. So we have Mana, which is an ERC20 token on Ethereum from Decentraland. We have Loom, again an Ethereum-based token. We have Enjin, another Ethereum-based ERC20 token, the Enjin Coin. Wax, still actually an ERC20 token on Ethereum, but is about to become a native token on the Wax blockchain, which is built on the EOS protocol. So we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. Reality Clash, ERC20, Theta. Again, this is actually was an ERC20 token on Ethereum and now has migrated to its own blockchain native token. That's just happened in the last month or so, and then various others, which won't bother about too much. So that's kind of the broad kind of holdings. These are there's nothing particularly clever about these ones. These are the biggest. All of these four are in the top 100 cryptocurrencies by market capitalization. Theta is as well. So you know, this is not kind of particularly rocket science, and these are all ones involved with the games industry. So Decentraland is a platform that's about to go live, we think fairly soon, which is a kind of a Second Life kind of virtual world which has games in it, and Mana is the kind of underlying token for that. Loom is what we call a layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum, so it could be used by lots of different dApps, but mainly being used by games at the moment. Enjin is a blockchain game platform. Quite a lot of different components here, kind of SDKs, has its own layer 2 scaling solution, has its own mobile wallet, which has been pretty successful, picked up by Samsung. There's been lots of kind of speculative buying and selling over the last kind of couple of months around Enjin Coin. And then Wax, which is a marketplace for mainly game items, can also do physical items as well, and looking like it's gonna kind of branch out into becoming a more generalized blockchain for decentralized apps or dApps as well. So that's probably where we are. Reality Clash is a game. So let's go and have a look in a bit more detail about what's been going on in terms of the trajectory of these tokens. Okay. Actually, before we go there, let's have a quick look. So this is pulling out the app I use to track my portfolio. Is this Delta app? It's free. There is a paid asset parts of it as well. It's like all these things, it has certain kind of nuances. So this is a live version. So if you look at it, this is different to what we were looking at in that graphic before, because I put that graphic together at the start of the start of June, and obviously now we are a bit further into June and stuff happens. But we can see the broad portfolio, the broad trajectory of the portfolio is similar. It's now saying 55% all time in this portfolio, and we can see here the actual kind of breakdown means what's going on. And you actually can click here and see the one day change, so we've gone down 2.5% today. So it's kind of pretty nice app. There's kind of lots of various apps that do similar things. And just to kind of say, I was talking about, I haven't actually done it yet to kind of index this against something like Ether or Bitcoin, but I have various other holdings, again pretty small blockchain stuff we can see here. This is one. This is actually kind of slightly less so. That's 55%, and compared to my more generalized, although it does have my game stuff in there as well, that's up slightly less. So in terms of one kind of index thing, the game token stuff is doing slightly better than other cryptocurrency that I hold. But let's have a look and just quickly work through what's been going on here. So we have Decentraland. I'm just using CoinGecko. You could use something else. Plenty of these kind of things. I guess kind of Coin Market Watch is something people use, but lots of these things. So Decentraland currently ranked 82 in terms of cryptocurrencies, and we can have a quick look and see what's been going on over the last, say, half a year. So I mean, broadly, we're going to see the same pattern emerging. This kind of decline into kind of mid-Feb, and then kind of an uptick since then, and then Decentraland's kind of been sitting around this kind of volume here. Not been doing very much. Although volumes have been going up here, so we can see here down the bottom here, the kind of volumes are picking up. So in a sense, we shouldn't be surprised about this. Decentraland, as I say, is a kind of a Second Life type platform. There's lots of other apps going to be operating within it, and it's been well supported. It did an ICO in late 2017, so it's been in development for a long period of time. It has a lot of kind of generally people know about it who've been around in the blockchain space for a while. I guess it's always a little bit nervous when they had a Q2 kind of date in terms of when they were going to kind of go live. We've not really heard any more details about that, and now we are kind of pretty close to the end. We've got a month left of Q2. Obviously, it wouldn't be a great surprise if it went to Q3 or did some sort of kind of staggered release. But I guess ideally, when we talk about things like utility, we would expect to see some sort of something going on with the Mana token as Decentraland, the product, kind of comes out. That's not really been reflected to date, and if we kind of go back a year now, we can kind of see it's more of a downward kind of spiral. Obviously, the whole problem with all these things is they are much no matter what internal trajectory they have as a product, they're much more affected by the external trajectory of the cryptocurrency space. So there's not a lot we can do about that. Just to note, it is interesting. I guess these volumes are increasing. So Decentraland. I mean, I think this is June will be, well, we basically want to have some news to see what's going to go on with Decentraland, the product, really, to see if that has any impact on Mana. Okay, Loom Network up next. So Loom Network, what are we on here? So rank 97 in terms of cryptocurrencies. So Loom Network is live. It is a layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum. It is a kind of a delegated proof of stake kind of concept. So you have these validator nodes. You can take your Loom tokens and you can stake them with these validator nodes, and then get some reward kind of structure. I guess like EOS and Tron, or like all those other delegated proof of stake kind of networks. And the whole point of Loom is it just allows you to operate faster. If you're running dApps on the Ethereum blockchain, there's lots of other. I mean, it's got lots of similar kind of approaches. So it's not the only thing doing this, but I guess it's kind of one that seems to be getting the most momentum in the short term. With all these sort of things, it is a product that is live, and I guess we might say this is kind of reflected to some degree in the Loom token price, which let's have a look every year probably goes down because it kind of did its, I think, so had a bit of a kind of late ICO kind of live net going live in May 2018, and then from there it looks pretty bad. But I guess that's kind of what we see in lots of different cryptocurrencies. From if we go to half a year, I suppose we're kind of seeing the uptick, but still a long way to go. But I guess the idea will be, as Loom is used by more dApps, then the utility of that token increases, and people who want to run validator nodes or want to run dApps are kind of acquiring this to use it. So I think, and you can see, I guess over 30 days, over a month, it's up pretty significantly. So Loom is generally a project which is being well supported and being well liked. Also has some few games or at least one game that they're developing themselves. It was called Zombie Battleground, now called Relentless. And there are, in general, quite a lot of games, blockchain games, that we are hoping will be out over the next kind of couple of months, or to the next kind of quarter, that are using Loom. So again, we are seeing more utility around the Loom network. Whether that is reflected in the price, we will wait to see. But there is stuff happening around that. Okay, our old favourite Enjin Coin. I've spoken about Enjin Coin a lot over the last few months. So currently ranked 61. So actually, let's have a look at Mac. So Enjin Coin, late 2017 ICO, so been around for a while. Really good team in terms of their tech team. We can kind of see there's been some interesting stuff going on here. So a typical cryptocurrency graph. So we have a January 2018 peak and then a collapse away, and then, as I mentioned, their mobile wallet got picked up by Samsung. So we saw this kind of quite strong rebound from about less than about 3 US cents here, up to about over 20 cents here. So not quite a tenfold increase, but getting on for that, and then kind of a falling away since. With Enjin, the tech stuff is still happening. Basically, what we're looking for now is to see some of the games coming out. So they have a blockchain game platform which has a load of games on it, over 20 games, none of which are out yet, and not very clear when those games are coming out. Obviously, coming back to the argument about seeing utility reflected in the coin value, that's kind of what we're looking for now for Enjin. So we will wait and see. Again, there's no firm dates on what's going to happen with Enjin when some of their games are going to coming out. I guess, like all these things, it will be a case of building momentum, and some games coming out and some games being successful and some games probably not so successful, but it will take kind of a few months to see if this can be driven by more than speculation, which is the case at the moment. Okay, now these two. Okay, so Wax currently ranked in 81 in terms of cryptocurrency. Again, been around for a while. ICO'd in 2017. What was that? What we're saying here? Actually, no, 20. Okay, early 20. I think they ICO'd in late in 2017, but took a while to get onto exchanges. So have this kind of massive peak up here, up to over $2.50, and then it looks like a massive falling away, which we don't argue against. What's going to be interesting for Wax? Again, another good technical team, or a team who have built businesses before, kind of have a very strong idea about what they're doing. Doesn't mean they're going to be successful, but they know what they're doing. They kind of they're building on the blockchain, something they've built off the blockchain previously. But as I say, what they're looking to do now is that they're an EOS-based project using the EOS, or the EOS.io protocol to build their own blockchain, which will be compatible with EOS. And they're currently going through getting their main net live and transitioning their ERC20 tokens over to their own native tokens. Some interesting stuff around that about staking. So obviously EOS is a staking platform, and there's some ideas that for people who transition their ERC20 tokens over now, or the first wave, there will be these called Genesis tokens that will have more value in the Wax system in terms of kind of reward structure. So I guess we can say that's broadly, to some degree, maybe that's being reflected here. So over the last 180 days, so we've got a low here of about 3 US cents, and we're not up massively up to, well, it's doubled. It's doubled, I suppose, isn't it? Over 180 days. So, but I guess with all these kind of transitions, it's interesting to see exactly how that is reflected. Equally, there's some technical issues around how exchanges move from ERC20 tokens to native tokens, and whether all the exchanges kind of follow that, and if all the tracking software works. Again, with Wax, over the next month, we'll start to see the main, its mainnet going live, and then we'll start to really see if that product that they've been working on really has or can start to build momentum around users. And finally, Theta Network, so rank 67. This is a video delivery system, and over the last last 2 months actually. So over the last 2 months, Theta has actually got its main net up and has transitioned its ERC20 tokens over. So again, they're a bit obviously ahead of Wax. So we can get the year up. I want to give me a year. Okay, so actually, Theta's done okay, really, in terms of, it doesn't have this massive collapse. I mean, it's still down 50% year on year, but we haven't really seen a massive pick up since its own mainnet went live and it transitioned its tokens over. I think it's still quite early stages for the product itself, which is being used mainly in a kind of esports type kind of Twitch kind of gaming video delivery streaming system, which they're starting to kind of build an economy around. But I wouldn't say that's really being reflected in the token value at the moment. But I guess again, over over 180 days. It kind of looks a. Why it's not coming? Yeah, we're starting to see something a little bit more positive. But with all these kind of things, obviously, you know, Bitcoin has been up, so that's driving. Typically, what happens is Bitcoin goes up, and then there's some sort of trickle down. You could see it as to other tokens. So hard to say that what's been happening in the blockchain game token space is broadly reflective of underlying activity by those in those products that will use those tokens, rather than just kind of Bitcoin. So in future videos, I will try and be kind of comparing what's going on in the wider blockchain space to what's going on with this portfolio, to try and see, is it doing anything different? You know, are we actually seeing value created in this space, or is it just kind of broadly reflecting what's going on with the larger ecosystem? So anyway, thanks for watching. This is Game Token Watch with me, John Jordan, which I try and do every month. And I think as the next few months go on, I will probably be moving into a bit more of an active situation in terms of allocation and kind of getting some more tokens, and maybe getting some new tokens in as well. So we're starting to see a bit more fundraising going on with various tokens that will be in the game space and will be interesting to have a look at. Certainly there's a few kind of token sales ongoing at the moment. That's probably worth talking about in future months. So if you're into that kind of sort of thing, if you're into blockchain games and the kind of deep financials of that, please do subscribe to the channel. Other than that, thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.